interesting, I think.
Barry and I today are wondering if you've ever even thought about, is somebody's behavior normal or pathological? Most people probably haven't thought about it, but Barry and I have thought about it a lot, and we're going to talk about it today.
Yep.
So this is the newsstreamingnetwork.com, WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast, #1 internet singles talk network. And this is Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Christine. Yeah, it's funny. I thought almost gonna feel like going to get like Dan behind it.
It feels a little bit like that today. And
Yeah.
Barry and I will both say we have no letters after our name, so there's a disclaimer. This is our own research, personal and professional, and our own opinion, and we're hoping that it'll be helpful.
Yeah.
But we're not M's or D's or any of those things that diagnosable people get. The people that get to do the diagnosing and use the DSM, great. I'm not taking away from them at all. But you might not talk to them or know them, so we're going to see if we can help you with this, because a lot of the pathological behavior can really sneak up on you. And we've talked about pieces of it before. Now we can put it more in one podcast. And then the stuff that's really normal that people think isn't normal, I think we're going to really talk about that too. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, just speaking from experience, I mean, I do have a background in psychology, but it's not in the doctoral level. So I have a semi-amateur or semi-professional awareness of this stuff, but not enough. The things what I think we want to do today, and I know we're going to do it easily enough, is to really do it from a layperson's point of view. Because yes, there are clinical terms that can sound dramatic and scary and upsetting or just unknown. And it's more about what's really in one way I'll say is, what are you putting up with in your relationships? I mean, you can make it that bottom line, make it that simple, that clear, and that effective. Just let people think about, okay, what am I allowing into my relationships that I'm not doing anything about? So this could be provocative for you.
Because pathological, in the Webster's dictionary, there's a lot of definitions under every word.
Mm-hmm.
It generally means ongoing, getting worse. There's nothing positive about pathological behavior that I've ever seen. We can have habits, we can have things, rituals, something completely different. And generally, the person doing the pathological, what would be deemed as pathological, is for their betterment, often, not always, but often, and always other people's detriment. That's really the bottom line that I would think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Pathological behavior in the spectrum it comes under, because it's got, again, quite a lot of things you said underneath it, is really about the person who's going through that experience, and usually it's oblivious to the other person's needs. So pathological behavior oftentimes can be very abrasive and negatively impacting those around them. Relationship partners, family dynamics, children, adults, anybody around them can be impacted by this, because it's not in the terms I would use, it's not a healthy behavior. And that's the thing that can make it challenging.
So another reason that we talk about getting yourself healthy first, figuring out what you need and want and who you are, and the things about you that I think are challenging when you're with somebody that's doesn't have your best interest at heart, is when you keep apologizing for who you are, who you really are. And if you don't want to be that way, then go talk to somebody and see about changing it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep finding yourself apologizing for being too loud, needing their attention, needing more extrovert time, needing more introvert time, all the things that make you up as a person, if you continue to apologize to the people around you about the things that make you the best, then that's when you need to be working on yourself, because the pathological people will be very happy to take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, in some ways, pathological. Well, I'm going to just drop a couple of perspectives on the table. One is, from the pathological person's perspective, they are looking for, the best way to put it is a target, something who will entertain or is put up with their behaviors, then get away with what they're going to get away with. On the other side of things, if you're someone who's experienced being in a relationship with someone who's pathological, whatever that is, and we'll get to those soon, it's recognizing the fact that this is probably not the first time you've had that experience. And there's a part of you that is almost leading into thinking that love is tied to that sort of behavior in the wiring you have inside your own head, which is another piece which is massive in this work.
Yeah, it really is a very delicate balance of, gosh, I see this thing in myself. It's not really serving me well in my life. I think I want to improve it. And even in that vein, it's helpful if you don't feel big apologies about it. Like if you could accept, I've done the best I can now that I know better, I could do better.
Mm-hmm.
If you really think there's something broken, there's something really wrong with how you're behaving, what you need in your life, the way that you talk, the way that you think, then please check in with somebody because they can help you balance it out. When somebody in your relationship, a romantic relationship especially, starts putting you down for it and telling you you're wrong for it, that's never helpful, never. And it will just make it worse.
Right.
Because nothing like that will ever make it better. That's their in. That's their in, is when you keep thinking, I'm broken and I can't fix myself. And this person's always right about me. They know more about me than I know about myself. It's a lot to ask of another person, even emotionally healthy person. And you really are going to be praying for somebody that's really looking for somebody to make them feel worse because it makes the pathological person feel better.
Yeah. And the thing also about this, which is challenging, is the person who's in the bucket of pathological behavior absolutely truly believes there's nothing wrong with themselves.
Yeah.
They feel like they're fine. It's like nothing to do with them, it's about the other people.
Mhm.
So, and to be honest, I think it's most people who are normal in this conversation are people who think there's something wrong with themselves because they think they're not perfect enough, or they're not whole enough, or they didn't clean up the house. It's like the little stuff that we every day think about our own stuff, our own things, our own issues that makes us normal is not pathological. So the pathological behavior is usually the ones that don't think there's anything wrong with themselves. So if you look in the mirror and you go, I wish this was better, I want to tweak this and this will be adjustable, you're probably normal. Yeah. If you don't care about that sort of stuff, or and I'm very careful because there are when you do the spiritual work, you might say, well, I'm above, beyond this sort of stuff. Well, reality is, as human beings, we go through our own self-image issues all the time. But the people who are more pathological aren't even aware of those sort of things. They sort of they put on such a mask or pretense, they don't even notice those sort of things. So if you're sitting there going, am I pathological? It's like, well, if you notice yourself having certain challenges, it means you're normal. So get over it.
One of the funniest conversations I've had a couple of times with people when they say, I've heard about narcissists and I'm wondering if I'm a narcissist. And I said, I have to tell you 100%, you wouldn't be talking to me. I mean, really, this is the best litmus test for me. Narcissists don't want to talk to coaches. They want their people to go talk to coaches, and they really, like a lie detector, they can tell you there's nothing wrong with them. They just wish everybody else would just get fixed. So if you, as Barry said, I just need to say that too. If you wonder at all, even a little bit, and you wonder and then you say, yeah, maybe, because I've heard that they kind of wonder now and then they go, yeah, no. So if you think maybe, because everybody's got things to work on, everybody's got things that they could do better. We learn, we're constantly being human beings, experiencing new things. That's a good thing. But the people who think they've arrived and everybody else is screwed up, those are the people that are going to have the kind of behavior that Barry and I are talking about, that you can never be good enough. You can never do enough, say enough, be enough, ever. And it doesn't matter what you do or how you act or what you say to them. It will never be enough. And that is such a good litmus test too, to say, who have I experienced like that never says I'm enough? That's so helpful. So that's one of the trigger points that Barry and I are going to be talking about. If you have people in your life that you're never enough for, this is generally a pathological behavior where they think it's not them. They don't have to move any of their things that they're saying or what their belief is or how they're behaving. There's nothing wrong with them according to them, and everything's wrong with you according to them. And if you buy that everything's wrong with you, you really would need to come talk to one of us.
Yeah. And the other thing about pathological behavior is if you're the partner of someone who has that behavior, do not think, unless you are a therapist yourself or you're trained in this sort of thing, do not be the person who thinks they can fix that person. Your
Yeah.
best move, frankly, should be to walk out as soon as you can and go and get help yourself, just so you don't fall in the trap again. But it's like not your job to fix them. There is a temptation sometimes, the people who go out looking for relationships because they want to have a fixer-upper sort of thing, where they want to do their work to sort of make them better because then they'll feel better about themselves. That isn't healthy either. So if you find yourself in a relationship with somebody like that, recommendation is get out as soon as you can. And if you want then to get some support, guidance, support from one of us too, or somebody else who basically will put your mindset straight, so then you start looking for different choices and find better partners, that's a better choice.
Yeah. So one of the categories that lots of people hear about pathological people is pathological liars.
Mm-hmm.
They have no sense of what their lies, when their lies, how it impacts other people.
Yeah.
They do it because they don't want to be found out. They do it because it's entertaining. They do it to get out of stuff. They do it to get in stuff. Their idea of telling the truth is not even available, pathological liars. There is no truth. It's their truth.
Right.
And the best way to find them out is, do the actions match the words?
Mhm.
Because the worst, if you have not seen the movie Gaslight, you need to watch the movie Gaslight, because it's all about that. That when it starts, you start questioning yourself, and they're happy to help you question yourself. And then it'll just get worse and worse and worse. So if you can get yourself the emotional healthy person that we keep talking about, doesn't mean you still don't have things to work on. It just means you'll notice this, that when somebody keeps saying this and you darn know that's not the truth. You need to know it's not the truth. The actions do not match the words. You're probably in the company of a pathological liar.
Yep. And this challenge of that, of course, is that you were probably under the spell of that when you first met them. So you've been, unfortunately, invited in without realizing that you were being courted by a pathological liar. So the thing is they will do their best to convince you what they're saying is the truth.
Mhm.
And so really it comes back to is, what do you, one, know is true? Secondly, what do you trust in yourself is true? And third, what do you witness and observe? Because like you were saying, Christine was saying, really having that simple litmus test to check in is like, is what they're saying matching what they did? When they tell you all the things on the first date about all the things they've done, and then you find out later on they don't have any of that, that's pretty telling.
Mhm.
So, I'm not saying you should do it every date, but frankly, it's nice to meet somebody who tells the truth and you can verify it. So anything other than that, frankly, sucks in my book.
Yeah. So because then we're talking about ongoing things. So the ongoing things besides lying is that people don't spend their money well. They're pathological spenders. They're
Hmm.
pathological savers. This means to an extreme, to
Yeah.
the detriment sometimes of themselves, often to other people. It means they're only focused on doing this thing without really taking in the consequences and the impact for anybody around them. That's really the thing to watch out for. Are they taking into consideration you, the family, the business, whatever it is, if it's money? Are they just helter-skelter doing things? Are they not planning things? Do they do things sporadically? Then do not hook your money to them, because
Right.
they won't care, and they're happy to spend your money too, right?
Absolutely. The thing about the pathological perspective, it's almost like watching someone who's an addict because they're continuing the same thing again and again and again. Now, their high is to complete the task or do the thing that they're doing and stay maintaining in that. But it can be what tempts some people into relationship with them, because some people are drawn into addictive personalities as they're being their ideal partner sort of thing. And so the pathological behaviors, when it is pathological liar, are the other mentally driven traits that are detrimental to other people, but work for the person. I mean, even things like OCD can come under the heading in a way because, what's the word? Trying to remember what OCD stands for. Suddenly, just lost it. What OCD stands for. I was going to say occupational. It's not right.
Over.
Sorry, for those that are watching,
Wow.
it's like you're probably yelling at the screen saying it's this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but here's the
I
thing.
can't either.
Yeah, but let me get the point of what I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Is that these behaviors can sometimes be tempting because you think, one, again, like when you can fix them, or two, that you think you can get away with your own stuff because you think that, well, they've got this problem, so they won't notice my problems. That sort of mindset, which is the lesser of evil, so to speak. And frankly, if that's where you're dating and relating, you clearly haven't been watching any of our shows or listening to our podcasts. So you might want to start recording. If you want to change your relationship status, check our stuff out. But the thing I want to say to that is these behaviors are, as I said, pathological. They are clinically defined. They are things that, again, as you as a person, it's not your job to fix them, and don't think it's a project you want to work on. The fixer-upper mentality is not something I'd recommend for any relationship. I used to do this myself. It wasn't good. So having a clarity of what I choose myself is clear, and we'll talk when we go after the break shortly about what you would want to do instead. But recognizing that pathological behavior is to an extreme, because there's going to be things that your partner does that annoy you and trigger you and everything else, but those are in the realm of normality, because we all have foibles. We're all human, so we're not going to be perfect at everything by any means. But that pathological has crossed that line into a much more dysfunctional and negatively impactful methodology of how they do things in the world and how you respond to them. So just be aware of that.
It's generally very detrimental to the other person, mentally, emotionally, or physically, or financially. Generally detrimental. You feel worse. You feel less of yourself. You feel less smart, less cared for, less important, less whatever, less good person. That's one of the things to think. If you're feeling that way in a relationship, you might consider that the person's having some pathological behavior and you're the recipient of it. Because people having normal behavior, generally, you don't feel bad as the person on the other side, certainly not for an extended period of time. Because the thing that people who are not pathological do is they will generally apologize. And the pathological people don't apologize. And even if they do, which they generally don't, even if they do, it doesn't last. They don't do the new thing that they said they're going to do. They continue to repeat the behavior that's bad for the person.
Yeah.
Because they don't care.
It sounds so obvious, but it's like it's so somewhat deceptive to catch because we don't notice the symptoms. And frankly, being self-aware enough to notice what's happening and what the symptoms are, or the clues, or the signposts, or the red flags waving in front of you that you choose to ignore because you think this person's cute or has what you want, and you ignore that stuff and then realize after you're in a relationship the price you paid for that. No, you want to definitely back up and have a much more aware approach to when you get into dating relationships in the first place.
And this is one of those times when you need to really say, am I feeling desperate or lonely? Boy, I bet I'd be a good target for them. I need to work on my desperate and lonely so I'm not a target for pathological people, because they are looking for desperate and lonely for sure. I mean, scammers, we would definitely put them in the category of pathological people. But when they come in a cute package and they say pretty words and they take you nice places and the sex is really great, it's a little harder to observe, to notice. So that's why Barry and I keep saying, while all that's going on, pay attention to this. Are you feeling better? Are you really feeling as a better person? Because that's the point. You get to be your best people, and then you become even better together, not one person feeling worse.
That's the idea. So here, before we go to the break, do quick intros. So if you can do yours first.
Thank you. So if any of this is ringing your bell and you're like, oh my gosh, I still have to talk about this, the best way to talk to me is to go to my website, which is www.theperfectcatch.com. Scroll to the middle where you'll see what's holding you back from love questionnaire, click on that 10 brief questions. It'll take you to my calendar where you can make a complimentary appointment with me to talk on the phone. You can also send me a personal private email at christine@theperfectcatch.com. And you, Barry?
Yes. Similarly, I offer a similar service. So go to my website, which is my name, barryselby.com. And about on the top of the page, because there's 3 things on the page we'll get to later on, but at the top of the screen, there is a link there, which is Let's Chat. The same idea where you fill out a form, get on my calendar. We have a complimentary conversation, 20-minute chat. I'll give you some tips and guidance and some feedback. And then if you want to work together, we talk about how that works and go from there. And you can also email me directly at barry@barryselby.com.
And we'll be right back after the commercial break for our wonderful station.
See you in a minute.
Hello, welcome back to Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. And today we're talking about normal versus pathological behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It is a challenge to recognize, especially like I was talking to somebody recently that had just gotten out of a narcissistic relationship, and she's like, "How come I didn't know?" I said, "You don't know till you know." I mean, if you do some study in this area, you could sort of recognize it. If it's something you've never been exposed to, it's easily enticing. It is. It's very easily enticing. And so now that you know, and I'm happy to help you have more information about it. So that's what our job is, we feel, with our podcasts and with our coaching, is to just keep saying, have you ever thought about, have you noticed this? Have you seen your friends get in these kind of relationships? Did you have this in your family of growing up? Because then you know what to do when you see it coming at you so that you don't get run over by that car.
Yeah. And the thing is, frankly, I said this before in other interviews about how we don't usually take any sort of steps to learn be better partners in a relationship. We just like go out and date and figure we've got it figured out, and we go ahead and make mistakes and we know what's going on. The reason we both do what we do is because we know basically from our own experiences and mistakes we've made in the past ourselves, but also how everybody can be better prepared for a relationship when they've got skills and learn how to do things, and also taking a good long hard look in the mirror to see themselves and where they are and what they are about. Because most people, frankly, don't see themselves accurately, either overinflated or underinflated egos or different perceptions of each other. And yes, if we aren't really truly honoring ourselves, respecting ourselves, we can fall into traps with pathological partners because we didn't see it coming. It's like we walked in front of a bus without realizing it was coming. It's like, no, look before you cross, sort of thing. And so sometimes doing the work with yourself when you're single, which we both do our work that way, is going to be much more preparing you to cross the road smartly. So you see the bus before you cross the road and don't walk in front of it, sort of thing. Interesting metaphor.
I love that. You made me think about the first time I was in London, because there's lots of people in London that were growing up in London, and they have these huge arrows on the ground saying, look this way.
The other way, yep.
Because most of us were raised with looking this way. Because
exactly.
If you don't look this way, you could get run over easily by something that weighs a whole bunch more than you. So I love that you brought that up. It just flashed in my head about, I would love those huge arrows that made me look, save me from getting run over. So preventive medicine, not to give yourself a hard time, to say, oh, I didn't know that. Good that I know that now. And I didn't know before, and oh darn, and now I can learn how to do it now. So I wanted to mention a couple of things that people go, well, if they're doing this habit and it's really annoying and I don't like it, is that pathological? No, probably not.
No.
So I'm going to talk about my friend Cheryl again, who was always an hour late, and she was never not going to be an hour late. And I just figured out if I wanted to see her, I was going to sit in a nice bar talking to a cute bartender for an hour waiting for her. And she wasn't doing it to be mean. She did it to everybody. I loved being with her, and I stopped getting mad at her when I finally decided I was going to work this out. So that's a very normal behavior. That was definitely her habit, and she wasn't going to change. We all complained about it, and then we stopped because that was just her. So
Hmm.
I don't want to give you free reign to go, well, you're having pathological behavior. I thought of that during the commercial. I don't want to be saying that at all,
Right.
because she didn't do it to upset us. And she apologized about it all the time. So you see the difference. I want you to see the difference so that you don't start saying everything is, because if you think everything is, you're not going to notice the things that really are.
Yeah. I know. It's funny. I was on a Zoom call yesterday. It was actually not hit and miss because Zoom was hit and miss yesterday. For those who weren't aware of that, but basically we were planning for Easter Sunday for a spiritual center, and one of the people who's involved in that has a way of doing things that always tends to run long. And so, because we're all doing prep work, it's all different parts of the crew and the staff and everything doing different things. And so, I was texting somebody today and I said to him, it's like, is what was said was this thing? And he said, like, you expect that to be true? It's like, it's always going to be the other way because the time to do things takes so much time. And so recognizing that's behavior, that's normal behavior, yes, it's not pathological, is a key thing. It's like we have that in our lives where people around us, we probably all have friends who either are always 15 minutes late or always forget something when they come into meeting, or they say the wrong thing in the groups and they blurt things out when they shouldn't. These are all just, human error. They're normal behaviors. Pathological is a different kettle of fish, so to speak. And it does tend to be something that's much more maybe discreet initially, but more blatant as time goes by.
Yes.
And it's something that when you notice it, it's like, how did I miss it? Which is unfortunate. So the recognition is that, yes, pathological behavior is easy to spot in hindsight. So the more you do the work, again, to do the prep work, to work on yourself beforehand, then you have foresight, so you see it before it happens. Again, you see the bus before it comes by.
And the preparation, so that if you have people in place that you can say, what do you think about this? I'm not sure. I think I'm too close to it. What do you think? And to get an outside person's perspective that's not emotionally connected to this is really helpful, because that's what happens when you say, really, this guy. I mean, we could all wish and hope, but he's got enough track record to know, let's not set it up that there's going to be this problem. We already know that'd be a problem if we don't schedule a little more time, and then we'll be fine. So
Right.
then you say, oh yeah, we're right. We're all on the reality check here. So to do a reality check all the time, what do you think? Do you think this is something that is weird? Do you think this is something? And the best thing to do too inside is, do I feel better around this person? Do I feel better because of their actions? Do I feel better because of their words? Over time. Because
Yeah.
that is part of the challenge with a lot of the pathological peoples. They're very charismatic in the beginning.
Hmm. And that's the
Yeah.
thing is we tend to think that we all think that, and maybe it's one of the things I think we do in relationship, especially when we're dating, we think the best of the people we're meeting. So we presume they are at their best from the first moment we meet them. And if they don't show their true colors, we don't even notice them. And when the true colors do show up, it may be a few times before we actually recognize it is that color, it is that behavior, it is that thing. So this idea about really knowing yourself before you get into a relationship, I mean, we've both been shouting from the rooftops to a degree about how important it is to be the better, but as I said, be a better partner, to attract a better partner. You to be the perfect catch. Same thing is that really the work is up front before you get into a relationship. So you don't want to spend years in the wrong relationship and then go, damn, I should have fixed it earlier on. And this is true not just pathological relationships, but bad ones anyway, of any relationship style. But the pathological ones, it's like an even bigger red flag, a bigger smack up that side of the head to say, this wasn't a choice you wanted to make next time. Choose differently.
Because generally, the damage is so much bigger when you end up in a relationship with somebody who's has a pathological nature to them, has a
Hmm.
pathological disorder in them. They will take you down and out. They really will. And they're not done until you are done. And it's sad because you think of how much it's going to take you to get back to even, much less ready to start dating and maybe trust another person again. So
Yeah.
the more you can say, oh, I have some tools. I can recognize this. I can watch out for it. I can run stuff by other people to see. that's our hope, that you wouldn't get completely sucked in and taken out and you have no stuffing left inside of you by the end, because that's exactly what happens.
Yeah. I just want to go back to something you said right before that, because it really was like, oh, I need to speak to that. The challenge is, like you said, like when you meet somebody first, like have people around you can go to check in. It's like, is this the right person? Does it match? I know how hard it's going to be to do that, because you've met somebody who's so perfect, so amazing, you're so attracted to them. It's the chemistry, the juices are flowing, the chemistry is going. It's like you don't want to find out from anybody else there's anything wrong with this person. You don't want to tell anybody, because you don't want to find out from somebody else that you made the wrong choice. That's the challenge, because we're so excited about this new love, and we'll ignore all the red flags, all those symptoms, all that behavior, because we're so excited. Understandably, I've been there myself.
Oh yeah.
That is the most challenging time, but also the most important time to go, let me make a quick phone call to my friend or to my coach or to some other expert who say, this is what's going on. What do you think? And if better yet, if you can actually have them meet the person you're dating or about to date, not saying it's the best choice, not the most comfortable, but that person, first of all, if that person who you're looking to date really doesn't care that you're going to introduce them to your coach or to your friend, that's a good sign as well, because they probably don't have anything to worry about. Now, some pathological people are so expert, they go, fine, bring them on, I'll outshine them. But the thing is, you'll notice the behavior they bring into that person as well. So it's like having two angles on the mirror, so you can see the truth no matter which one's looking. So definitely have your support system around you once you're single. So when you start dating, you've got someone to go, let me just bounce this off you so I know I'm in the right place.
Yeah. Oh, that huge excitement in the beginning. That's why I'm such a proponent about the numbers. Start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because if you stay grounded at least a little, you have more of a chance of noticing. You'll have more of a chance of running it by your friends, who we want our friends to be in happy, wonderful relationships. We get happy for you too. And we don't want to think ill of them. We want to let them put their best foot forward. And if you've had this conversation with a couple of your close friends, they know what to look for too. So and I have to tell you, people, I know there's some that are really good and can go on for a really long time. Most of them show themselves pretty soon if you know what you're looking for. You need to know what you're looking for, which is why we're doing this, because there are really good telltale things. Because what I have found a lot, not always, but a lot, is the really great is so overblown.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let me buy you all these things. Let me talk to you every day. Let me just consume your time, which is kind of a heady experience, especially for people that are lonely or desperate. And most of the time, not always, I've certainly known people that just clicked right away. Generally, that's a warning. Just not run away, pay attention. Do they try to seclude you from your friends? Do they try to change who you are a lot? Those are what you're watching for when they're this big, grandiose person. Because a person that really does care about you and you've clicked a lot, they want to enmesh. They want to get you with their friends. They want to meet your friends. They want to see what your life is about. I really need you to hear this dividing place, because it's so evident if you know to look for this. Don't you think, Barry?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, what are they trying to hide? Simply put. I mean, it's like, if they sound romantic, it's like, I want to steal you away and take you away to college, and then then you get locked up and never get out. It's like, no, that's not cool either. So to be involved in your life, because the thing we talk in other episodes is you don't want to give up your life for your partner. So when you do meet somebody, you still keep your life going, your friendships, your other things you're doing, your commitments, all those things. And then if you decide that your partner is someone you want to introduce to all those things, great. Because again, it's a litmus test. It's that understanding that you now have feedback and guidance from other people that you've made the right choice. But it is such a clear division about, like, can you have your life with the relationship or have your life or the relationship?
Lots of them don't want to be integrated. They just don't. Partly because they think they're enough. Partly because they think you're not the right person because you've been with these people. Now that you're going to be the right person with them. And a few of them wonder if they're going to get found out. So I've experienced all of that with my clients and my friends, and at least one of those on my own, for sure. So we know what we're talking about, that even when it feels great, keep checking in. Keep checking in. Have some distance for a moment just to see, can you catch your breath? Is it really okay enough? Do you feel like still yourself? Because they will not allow you to stay yourself at all.
Absolutely. That's the thing is, especially when you start working on yourself, you start discovering just how amazing you really are.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to give that up for anybody else. So if
No.
somebody tries to do that, you just feel like someone's trying to like convince you of something that's not true. So your red flags, your signposts, your radar is going to buzz massively to let you know you're making a choice that isn't best for you. And that's a good sign. That's healthy. That's the reason why I love working with my clients, to make them more self-aware and self-trusting, because then they make better choices and they don't fall for these sort of behaviors ultimately. That's the ideal result.
That they can have a caution bell.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be a warning bell. It's just a pink flag, a yellow light, something that just makes you go, let me just ask some more questions. Let me just see a little perspective. That's all we're saying. Because you will save yourself the heartache of getting enmeshed with somebody who's out to hurt you if
Yeah.
you do that. And you won't miss, truly, you won't miss the right person if you back up a little for just a moment. They'll wait. My husband waited forever for me. I'm the perfect test for that. He was very patient about waiting for me. So we'd love to help you. We really would. It would be our pleasure, because we know how much better it is when you can bypass this particular part in dating. Because everybody thinks they should know how to date, and nobody knows this. They just don't. You'll just blindly walk into this. So let Barry and I teach you.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So go to my website, please. Sign up for a conversation with me, and also join my mailing list. You can join my mailing list through my website, and you can also go to the bottom of my website and see all my social media of Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter and Pinterest and YouTube, where you can see a replay of all of these. And at the top, you'll see my new ebook that's free, that has dating advice. I'd love for you to download it and then tell me what you think about it. I would just be so excited for you to read it and get back to me about that. And Barry,
Perfect.
please tell people about your website, please.
Absolutely. So again, on my website, you can definitely reach out to me and get on my calendar and have a conversation. So again, barryselby.com. I mentioned the three things on the homepage. The first one is the link to my calendar. So it's right at the top. At the bottom of the screen is a link to my email list. So you can I should say it's an opt-in to my email list. So you can get subscribed to my audience and get all the information about my work, including the weekly replays of the show they put out, and also the things I'm working on. In the middle of the screen is another thing, which is the new relationship readiness assessment that I created a while ago. And that one basically takes you through a few questions to get you clarity on what you're looking for and where you are. And maybe you'll get some feedback in the report that comes out afterwards on what works and what doesn't work. You can just go directly to it by going to barryselby.com/quiz. And then the other quiz that I got, which is not actually a button, but you can still go to barryselby.com/self-quiz, as you may have guessed from the title, is a self-relationship assessment. And that basically is a much deeper self-awareness test. There's seven sections in there, but it gives you a bar graph. It doesn't give you actually a graph, but it shows you where you're stronger and weaker in different parts of your self-relationship, and it gives you a report that you can then review with some guidance and some tips and really stuff that will help you go work through stuff. So definitely recommend that. Also, my website is my book is on my website. My book is not a free download. Sorry, to buy my book. But if you go to barryselby.com/book, or you just click on the navigation in the menu to find your way there. My best-selling book, which is called 50 Ways to Love Your Lover, which is on Amazon, and also you can download the ebook from my website. There's also a recently added 12-minute long AI-generated review of my book by two very skilled expert voices, all AI-generated, of course. It's really fun to listen to. So if you do nothing else, go to the book page and listen to that, because you might have some fun thoughts about my book because of what they say. One other quick thing, social media-wise, I mentioned that. My name is on most of my social media platforms. So it's Barry Selby on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, etc. On Instagram and on Threads, it's the real Barry Selby, and it's also Barry Selby on Threads. Sorry, on Blue Sky. That's the other one. If you haven't been following me on social media, I invite you to do so now, especially because I've been creating these little 1.5 minute, 2 minute reels, I guess they call them. Some of these kids call them. I don't know what they call it. Reels, I guess. Short videos, just provocative invitations to consider some points. And I've got, as of this recording, I've got 12 up right now, and I've got another 8 in the queue, and I've got another 13 after that I've got to record. So there's going to be over 30 different teaching points that are going to be out on my social media platforms. So if you follow me on YouTube or on Facebook, especially Instagram as well, you'll get to catch those and listen to them and get some thoughts as well.
So prolific. I am working on my paid book. We're just not there yet.
It's okay.
So we love for you to watch us live. You can ask us questions while you're here. And if you want to watch us afterwards, you can watch us on TV, on Roku TV. And then you can also take us with you audio if you don't want to watch us, right, Barry?
Absolutely, yes. If you want to catch up on all our broadcasts, because they're all archived now in different places, including on all the podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google, and on Amazon Podcasts. Those are basically on Spotify, I think, as well. But basically, you can listen to our shows wherever you are when you're mobile, because the thing about video is you got to stop and watch. And if you don't have time to stop and watch, but you can go somewhere and listen, our podcast is the perfect audio input to your ears that changes your mind about how you do relationships. So definitely making you do that. By the way, just to speak to Christine's point about commenting directly on our show, this show goes up live onto YouTube and onto Facebook, so you can actually watch them live in those different platforms. We can actually comment and make notes right there and then when you're watching a show live, when you listen to us, which will be, when does that show go out?
It's at 1 o'clock on Pacific time and 4 o'clock Eastern time every Thursday.
There we
and
go.
We would love for you to like and share and review and star and whatever it is you're going to do, because we would love you to share it with other people that are interested in learning more how to have a better relationship in their dating life.
Absolutely. So we'll
And
see
we'll
you
be back
next
week.
Yeah. See you then. Take care of yourselves.